Member of Parliament for Laventille West, Fitzgerald et Albert Hinds.
There was good and evil. We chose good. Why raise the time of the Most High, ye sons of men? The rich man's wealth is in the city. Yeah. Destruction of the poor is his poverty. Lord, destruction of your soul is vanity.
Ja! Rastafari. Thank you very much, Mr. DJ. The political leader of the great People's National Movement and Prime Minister of this blessed republic that is Trinidad and Tobago, let us again welcome the Honorable, the dignified, Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley, our party chairman, Minister of Finance, Member of Parliament for Dago Martin Northeast, Mr. Colin Burt. Of course, my hard-working sister, Minister of Planning and Development, Member of Parliament for Ruka Maloney, the indomitable, the strong, the persistent and consistent Master of Ceremonies, Camille Robinson Regis. Fresh, beautiful, articulate, highly educated Dr. Nyan Gatsby Dolly, the Member of Parliament for Barataria San Juan, and of course, the Minister of Community Development and the Arts. Madam Joan Yule Williams, our long-standing and hard-working deputy political leader of this great party, and of course, any other deputy political leaders who might be in the House, not yet seen by me. Other members of the party executive, in particular our General Secretary, Senator Foster Cummins. Hardworking, focused. My other cabinet and parliamentary colleagues, chairmen of the regional corporations and all the representatives of local government, members of council, executive members of the San Juan, Barataria San Juan constituency, party members one and all, members of the media, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and of course, all of those who are listening in places far and near from here. I am absolutely proud of this PNM as a political party and a government. I am proud that we are engaged in the important work of rebuilding Trinidad and Tobago after Hurricane Kamla and Tsunami UNC. I am particularly proud of our leader for one reason. If I might mention it, he is sober. He's serious. He's committed to Trinidad and Tobago, and he does not tell lies. That lady is a serial liar, and everybody knows that. I am proud as well because our history as a party, our history in government, has been one of all-inclusiveness in a real sense. We are a party of all, by all, and for all. Isn't that true, PNM? So when you hear noises from Ramai Trace or from the leader of the Mahasabha, don't trouble your heart. We know the rock on which we, the PNM, stands. But you would have expected that the leader of the opposition and the leader of the UNC would have come out in strong condemnation of those comments. No such thing. Even though he told her, you could eat what you want, drink what you want, stumble like you like. You're all over the place playing the ace quesas. But you can't do what you want. Even in the face of that, she has nothing to say today when a serious attack was made against the people of Tobago in a general way, including our political leader who is from Tobago, a man of family, a man of strength, a man of education, a man of dignity, an honest man of integrity. Not a word. But they perpetrate shameless attacks on us all. Ladies and gentlemen, Kamla Persad-Bissessar and the UNC are in panic at this time. She knows in advance, one, that she is not wanted as the leader of the UNC because there is a faction in the UNC who is trying their best to see if they could get rid of her. She knows that the UNC will not win the next general elections. She knows that. So they are very desperate. And in that desperation, they are prepared to destroy every institution, at least what was left of it and what we had to rebuild over the last 3 going on 4 years. Destroy it all. Ladies and gentlemen, we are problem solvers as a government, as your government. We see problems, problems arise, and we fix them. For one example, Venezuela, 7 miles away from here. A crisis in Venezuela, economic and political and social crisis, caused by all kinds of reasons. The Venezuelans are coming here in their thousands. That's a reality for us. Our borders are porous. So they come. They are actually here, many of them. We're not sure of the numbers, so we decided to regulate it, to fix the problem. So we decided as a cabinet, we will register them, permit them to work for 1 year. They would come in 6-month intervals so that we could know how many are here and monitor their presence. We will know what kind of burden they will put on the health system because we have also promised basic health care, not surgeries and that sort of thing, but basic health care. And in the middle of all of that is human beings. Some may have a proclivity to crime, but that does not take away from the fact that we have an issue that we can hardly avoid that we have to deal with. If there was a war in Venezuela, we would have a bigger problem. But we don't. Because our leader, taking leadership in CARICOM, took action around the world to ensure that peace reigned while the issues are being resolved. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the way we intend to resolve this problem. We know you have your concerns and your fears, but they are already here, and we are trying to regulate their presence in a sensible way. We have the Minister of Finance who will tell you how we had to fix and solve the problem of the economy. I heard Kamla Persad-Bissessar last night sounding foolish, speaking untruths about how they built this economy and what they did and how unemployment was so high, it was the lowest in the last 5 years, and all that they did. Tell us about white economy, green economy, blue economy. Well, I know the blue was only currency, money, 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 money. And the green was plant-like substances on a windowsill in Philippines. We are fixing problems as a government. We don't want to spend too much time on them because we are on the job solving the problems of Trinidad and Tobago for you and you and you and for all the people of Trinidad and Tobago. We've been passing laws because in a civilized democracy, we have the executive, we have the judiciary, we have the parliament. We have been going to parliament, as Madam Camille Robinson-Regis reminded you a moment ago, and passing laws, not for the sake of it, not to give their friends a get-out-of-jail card as they did with Section 34, but we realized for decades in this country we have a crime problem, so we began to fix the criminal justice system. So one of the things we did, we increased the complement of judges by some 77%. We established the criminal division of the High Court. So you will have specialist criminal courts, more criminal courts. We looked into the magistracy, and so it was burdened with thousands and hundreds of thousands of cases, and we sensibly decided to take a large chunk of those, that is to say traffic cases that were treated as normal criminal cases, adjourned and all of those problems, take them out of the system and treat with them administratively on a point system, freeing up the magistrates so they could get on with the business. We have a situation here where for 20 years, one matter concerning racket in the airport is still on preliminary inquiry. In light of that fact, your government decided, and we went to Parliament, to abolish preliminary inquiries. We get objection from them. Most lawyers will tell you the preliminary inquiry, important as it used to be, is just a repeat of you have to repeat all of the evidence and the delays that is involved when you get to the High Court. We do that. We went to Parliament recently with the civil asset forfeiture provisions. Well, that scared the daylights out of them. The non-profit organization law, to tighten up non-profit organizations, because we found a case where the terrorists, those who want to use money for terrorism and send it to terrorists around the world, use the defunct almost non-profit organization. And we had to tighten that up to prevent that, along with the need for regulation generally. We have been very busy in the Parliament. Recently, you know, we went to Parliament and amended the Trespass Act, because many of you in Barataria, in San Juan, in Belmont, and around the country would have seen with your eyes experiences of people, criminals walking in their home, put them out under threat of a gun or a cutlass. The people run away from the house and the criminals take possession of it. I know several houses like that. So we go to Parliament and we pass laws in this civilized place in order to give the police and to give law enforcement the tools in order to do the job that they have to do. And very often, they ask for it. We give that. As Camille Robinson-Regis told you, the police service is the only institution under law with the mandate that it has to respond to crime in this country. We have other law enforcement agencies, yes, but the police are the ones to investigate, for the most part, to detect and to prosecute crime. So, recognizing, since we were in opposition, that the police service was not keeping pace with modern developments, unable to perform as efficiently as it should, we decided in opposition that we should have a manpower audit. And as we came to government, the Honorable Prime Minister instructed us, and we indeed put a cabinet committee in place, and an audit of the police service was done. And the processes that coming out of that to improve the efficiency of the Trinidad and Tobago police service is now gaining our attention. We are problem solvers. That's what we do. We're not looking for opportunities to thief. The Minister of Works will tell you all of the big contracts for road paving and so on. You will find that we are now enjoying prices 25 to 30% less, because all we have now is a free and fair bidding process, and all who bid know one thing, two things: that they will participate in a free process to win that contract, and they also know when they get it, if they do, the money is them own, and nobody on our side coming to tell them they want 10, 20, or 25%. Nobody. And to that extent, after the time now we have been in government approaching 4 years, as the Prime Minister reminded us proudly last week in Aruka, not one single minister can be justifiably accused of interfering with your money. I am proud of the PNM. I am proud of this government. I am happy to be a part of it. And I will take the PNM 1,000 times before I take Kamla Prasad and the Sasana team once. Once. And that's what we are about, ladies and gentlemen. As I was telling you, all we are trying to do is to quicken the criminal justice system so that the criminals will know when they contemplate committing a crime, their day will be soon. Right now, they feel as though it will take years and plenty things could happen in the meantime. We want swift justice, and that is what we have been working on, putting all the little pieces in place. But you know, there will always be resistance. And while we are doing all of that, if you listen to the likes of Ralph, you will swear that we have done nothing in this country. We went and announced and turned the sword to carry a road from Valencia to Toco. That fella see that. A road from Grandi to Manzanilla. That fella see that. Their friends opposed that project in the courthouse over and over and over up to the Privy Council. They lost. And we are continuing with that project. We are developing infrastructurally. We are developing socially. We are developing legislatively. And in a little while you will hear what we have done, what we have been doing in respect of the economy. But they are objecting and they behave as though we are doing nothing and trying to convince you in their weekly articles, in their commentary, including last night, that we have done nothing. But you know differently. They are just resisting change. And I have to sit down in the parliament, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you something that irks me, as I'm sure it irks my colleagues. When you see Kamla Prasad Bisesa in the parliament, you're not seeing a parliamentarian simplicity, you know. You are not seeing the member of parliament for Barataria or the leader of the opposition. You're seeing a senior counsel, someone who gave herself silk. So last week in the middle of the debate, while she should be thinking as a parliamentarian and acting as a parliamentarian in the interest of the people, she's literally telling the Attorney General, and this is what provoked me, I will be taking this to court. Which tells me that you fight it politically in the last election, you get your tail cut. You lose. We have a mandate, we're carrying it out now. We go to the parliament with measures, we debate it, and very often, as you could see, including last night, or a couple days ago with the non-profit, the only objection in the whole Senate comes from 6 UNC members. In fact, in the whole country. The independents, every one of them voted for the NPO bill. And others. So she's telling the Attorney General, I will be taking this to court. So as I say, you lose on the political platform. You lose out on the debate in the parliament. But you know what? They go to court. And they have a habit, we've seen it. They sit down in the Senate. They sit down in the cabinet when they were there. They sit down in joint select committees and they gather information in the course of those official capacities. And then they use that information to launch vicious attacks in the courthouse and otherwise. Something is immoral and wrong about that. I have a problem with that. May not be able to do anything about it because in this democracy, anyone can be elected. In some parliaments of the world, in India in particular, you could find people with criminal convictions as a parliamentarian. Yeah. And I'm sure in other places. So we might not be able to do anything about it, but I do not like the idea of people getting information. You saw it recently. Anand Ramlogan, a former Attorney General, passed children's law to protect our children in this country. Got the law proclaimed without putting the administrative structure in place, and knowing of that deficiency, walked out of the cabinet, in fact was kicked out of the cabinet ignominiously, and then go on in the courthouse with his best friend and challenge the same law that they passed and proclaimed and did not set up the structures for. Sue the state, in other words. How immoral and low can you get? How much more? But he went on with that for a long time until he went before the Privy Council. And the law lords looked down their glasses at him and asked Mr. Clayton, are you carrying on this matter or is Ramlogan to talk? and they expressed concerns about his conduct. Take note. Take note. So let them continue. Last night, before I go, last night I heard the leader of the opposition talking about some fake ID card. If you didn't know, in this country and in many other countries, including England, and I could speak about that because I studied there for 7 years, and I know, it is not unusual for human beings to steal people's identity. They go in the cemetery, they see John Brown dead, they see the dates of birth, they use that information and they go and get false birth paper and false all kind of thing. That's not new. We have false driver's permits is a regular thing, and the police constable and the traffic police, the transport division could tell you that. Not that we accept it, but with the technology that exists today, they get very close. Even currency, they counterfeit. So the point is, I heard the lady last night saying that they found some fella called Guevara with a fake ID card. And the lady sounded as though she went on about it and then began to tell us that that is the PNM's way of voter padding. We are encouraging people with fake ID card. How did she arrive there? The EBC told the country that although there was a false ID card, it did not appear on their voters or their registration list. But last night she went on for plenty time telling us that because of that, we are trying to voter pad. Who introduced voter padding in this country? Who? The PNM has been fighting elections since 1956 in this country. And we have been winning and winning and winning and winning. On a few occasions we lose. We pack up our bags and we go home in the spirit of democracy. We plan and we organize. We come back in the next 5 years and cut the tail again. That's how the PNM does it. We don't have to vote a pad, Madam Kamla Prasad Bisesa. We are not in that. So ladies and gentlemen, I don't know. This talk about gerrymandering, where the lady get that, and we even adjusting the boundaries, well, you know, then is when I begin to be convinced she had too much water. Because I tell you something, let me have a little bit myself. I'll tell you something. We do not design boundaries. That is a function of the EBC. Whether local electoral districts or whether constituencies, the first time we would know what the new arrangements are is when they send their report to the parliament. But last night I heard her saying they changed the boundaries in Barataria, San Juan, and they changed the boundaries in San Fernando East. Ladies and gentlemen, you just have to reject that lady as soon as you hear her. So, we have been told as well that we are dictatorial and we are bullies. I heard Wade Mark saying that. You know Wade Mark? You know Wade Open Book Mark? You know Wade No Supervision Mark? Yeah. Yeah? I have to listen to Wade Mark. I have to sit down in the parliament sometimes and listen to Gerald Ramdeen putting up all kinds of spurious arguments against measures we bring and condemning my leader and talking nonsense. Of all the lawyers in Trinidad and Tobago, maybe about 2,000 of us, Kamla Prasad Bisesa chose Anand Ramlogan as an AG. In the face of everything, well, you all don't know, you know, but the way the PNM operates, the slightest allegation against you, you have a problem to pass their standard, our standard. But in the face of all that we know concerning a Senator Gerald Ramdeen, he is there sending a text message advising her front and center in the UNC. Well, I have seen from a long time now that to be a frontline member of the UNC, you have to have some kind of defect. You have to be a reject. Something has to be wrong with you. Light attracts light. And that is how they do it. So when we give you civil asset forfeiture, which is a direct attack on white-collar crime. For 40, 50 years, you hear about lock joint, you hear about all kinds of crimes in this country, and corruption. And most times the talk about corruption is focused on elected officials, ministers of government. But I want to say this. Public corruption is defined as corruption involving public money or public officials. And it don't have to be elected people alone. But now we have gone past the talk. We have now passed legislation that is a direct attack on white-collar crime. And even if we don't get you on the crime, there's an agency called the NCA, the National Crime Agency in the United States, in Kingdom. Their job, ladies and gentlemen, is to monitor the financial dealings and assets of citizens and companies. That's what they do. So they monitor your activities, much like the Integrity Commission is supposed to be doing. And then one day, if they are not satisfied that yours is not ill-gotten gain, they knock on your door. And they come and they ask you to explain where you got it. In most cases, by the time they come, they have the answers already. In the States, the FBI does that too. They ask you to explain. And in the United States, if you lied to an FBI officer, that in itself is a crime. And I heard my Prime Minister say so a long time ago. That's true. So we are considering giving our police more power as we go along and balance the rights of the citizens with our ability to deal with white-collar crime, because it is a problem. We have former ministers of government with huge wealth. Jack Warner told us of one with 6 properties. He's now, again, she took him and made him chairman of something big. The same tactile fella in the air, the one who liked to touch people on plane. Flying tactile. The man is a chairman today. Jack Warner, and it went unchallenged and undisputed, told the country, it is on public record, 6 properties. I know another one, former cabinet minister with 9 properties, and I'm not talking lightly. From Mocha to Philippine to Federation Park. Serious? It's not a joke. So when we come with property tax, they will oppose it, because not only will that bring revenue, but it also it makes provisions for every single piece of land to be identified with an owner. And there are 3 ways in which people hide corrupt money. Either in companies, which is why we are amending the non-profit organization and the profit organizations law. Either in land. This is why we are coming to Parliament with registration of deeds law, where you can't hide behind trusts and have somebody else owning property and you hiding in there with corrupt money and assets. And they can also store it in cash. So we understand this, and we are dealing with it bit by bit. They don't like that. Ladies and gentlemen, there's far more to be said. But I'll tell you something, elections local are due this year, and our leader tells us it will come as the law and the Constitution requires it. I am looking forward to that with great enthusiasm, because it is my commitment, it is my purpose, as long as Jah gives me strength, to do all that I can to ensure that the UNC never has a chance to get their slimy hands on your money to do you again what they did you in 1995 to 2001, and what they did again in 2010 to 2015. Good night. God bless you, ladies and gentlemen. Stay strong in your PNM. Don't lose heart. Continue to support your party and keep them crazy ballheads out the town. Thank you very much. Destiny, Mama look from where